Hi, it's Rick Giggy. I'm really enjoying right now. This is where I am. Pretty nice, eh? I was thinking about all that is, and I can hear this great sound of all that is right now. It's a roar. And if I listen carefully, I can hear the ocean. I can hear the joy and the suffering. I hear the birds. I don't know if this camera is picking them up. Been awake for a few hours. I was thinking about President Trump and how he, like me, is accused of being too much and not enough and having people angry at him. I was thinking about 30 generations of my ancestors, thousands of them, going all the way back to the Isle of Skye. My father telling me that he had been told that the Geigy family were alchemists. And they were kicked off the Isle of Skye by the MacGregors. They were part of the MacGregors at one point. And the MacGregors got kicked off by the British. And my ancestors wandered the highlands of Scotland, pretending that everything was okay and just struggling to stay alive. Just like President Trump's ancestors. I was thinking how I saw a documentary about President Trump's grandfather, I guess, who'd come from some city in Germany, opened a restaurant and a brothel in the Yukon and the gold rush there. And I was thinking about how my ancestors have done things that, not very good, but it was their best shot. And how that's influenced me. Now, President Trump and I are both survivors. We pretend that everything's okay and we scramble like crazy. Tell ourselves stories that we start to believe and start obscurating, manipulating, and how that creates such chaos when we're not honest about what hurts. And, I think about all the stories that are being told about President Trump and women, and I'm thinking about, did he lose his virginity in a brothel? Because brothels were seen as something very selfish, and people who were having to use their bodies just to stay alive and provide sensation and things to people who could afford to pay them, or not, just raped people, force them to give a sensation so that the rapists could feel alive, or so the abusers could feel alive. And I think about my relation with women and how confused I've been. Confused about love and confused about sensation and about being part of life, not really being able to have a good time that doesn't take energy from other people, but shares the energy, And every day I pray for people like President Trump and people who have huge influence and huge impact, and I hope they have epiphanies and they wake up and that they're able to say, boy, was I ever off base with that decision or that action, And then to make amends, like just be different. The very best amend is just be different. Help other people be free. Help life by saying we can all work together and cooperate. Sometimes we'll hurt one another and sometimes we'll help one another. Sometimes I get so sad that there is such insensitivity to the suffering that I cause, that they cause. It really gets me down. And I really have to stay calm, because if I don't, I get grumpy with June and get judgmental. And my friends Kelly and Alad yesterday told me about a process that they had discovered to help them switch gears from the momentum of being frightened and angry and, trying to control each other. June and I do that too. And I'm hoping that Kelly and Alad and I can make a video about what they've discovered. And I'm really grateful that I'm here. I mean, it changes all the time. Check this out. It's pretty amazing. The colors. And that's San Francisco way over there. There's a tower, a big tower. You can see it from here. I don't know what it is. This is a property that my friend Pilar is looking after, and she was kind enough to let June and I stay here to just take a refuge and a bigger view, so that our souls can get built up, so we can remember who we all our parts, not just the frightened parts, but also those parts of us that are just like, oh my goodness sakes. I have two heroes, many heroes, and they're part of me. One of them is Oprah Winfrey, and another one is Jean Houston. And the two of them have a thing on YouTube where they're talking. And Jean Houston is talking about meeting a ventriloquist, a famous ventriloquist, and his little puppet. And this story touched me so deeply. And Jean Houston was talking about she and her father walking in on this ventriloquist, and he was talking to his puppet. And for the life of me, I can't remember their names right now. And the ventriloquist was asking the puppet, what's the meaning of life? And what am I supposed to do today? And the puppet was answering really wise questions, and I realized listening to this that I have those wise parts of me. Jesus is inside me, and Buddha, and they talk to me now. And the COVID seclusion for the last 6 or 7 months has allowed me to really listen to these really wise, kind parts of myself. And I hope you're able to listen to those voices in you that are just so spiritually, emotionally, intellectually evolved that we can start tapping into the fact that we have everything inside us. And when we can listen to ourselves and trust these voices and just go slow enough, then it helps us not be afraid. And when we can remember the suffering that all our ancestors got through, it'll help us remember that we come from a long line of survivors. They survived long enough for us to be born and to give us skills, and that my ancestors gave me the skills of survival, the skills of pretending that everything is okay. And sometimes that's all we can do is pretend we're okay, because there's other parts of us think we're really, really crazy. We're so crazy we're embarrassed about it, you know. And I've rambled on long enough, but I hope you found this to be useful. And I'm making this video for myself because I know that I'm forgetting stuff now that I'm getting really old. And also I want to give it as a gift to my wife, June, and my son, Chris, and granddaughters and daughter-in-law and friends. And I hope that you make some kind of something that you can pass on who you are and what your ancestors have taught you. And we really need each other now. You can't get through this crazy time. It's not a crazy time. It just is what it is. If we can go slow enough and stay with, it hurts, stay with our suffering, then we'll get more relaxed about it, and we won't hit the panic button and the stupid button and I don't care who I push under as long as I can get ahead. And I look at all these people fighting all around the world, and they're so scared and doing cruel things to themselves and each other. And I'm glad that an awareness is coming that we have lots of parts, and it's important to learn to live with our parts so that they don't get out of hand. I was reading a book, a wonderful book called My Grandmother's Hands. The man's grandmother was a slave, affected, and her hands were so affected by having to pick cotton. And he told me in this book that I listened to, that police officers are being acquitted of killing people, especially black people, with the defense that my body shot the person, yes, but my heart didn't want to. But my heart and my body were separated. It's like it's an insanity, defense in a way, but that it's being recognized a little bit that we're all doing our best, and sometimes it's not good, and sometimes people die and get hurt, and I've done things that people have died, and it's a very heavy thing to carry. And I've realized my ancestors have killed people just so they would stay alive. And their heart of hearts, their highest spiritual parts, didn't want to do that. But their bodies were so frightened. It was kill or be killed. And I think that consciousness is arising. We're waking up. And I look forward to living long enough where I see more and more evidence of people really looking after themselves and taking responsibility for themselves, but helping other people and saying, oh, I'm free to do whatever I want as long as it doesn't affect somebody else's. And my friend Joshua yesterday reminded me that there's a lot more to this whole idea of, I'm free to do whatever I want to do, but I have a responsibility that part of that, my doing something, doesn't involve suffering for somebody else and stopping somebody else from living. So please make your videos and get them out there somehow, or your stories or your poems or your songs or your artwork or the simple acts of anonymous kindness, giving gifts that, nobody but you knows that you've done it. So I hope this thing gets sent. It's a big file. So thank you very much for watching. And if you want to support the Easier Fund that many of my parts have started, go to this Patreon site and look up Grandpa Ricky's Video Closet, and that can help you get money to me, and then I give it to people who I want to support, like buying equipment for somebody who's sifting through their burned out house, buying them a bag with a nozzle on it for showering, or, plastic colanders for sifting through the ashes so they can find maybe their grandmother's ring and honor their ancestors. So much love to you.